Hello.
Yo, yo, yo.
What's happening? Me and Phil are going to talk like we just weren't talking for the last 20 minutes.
Exactly.
You're
It's
just now joining us as we've seen each other for the first time today.
hey, everybody. How's it going?
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
How's the weather?
Balmy, muggy, and
Mm,
gross. I'm literally sweating. Wearing glasses outdoors was a poor choice. But I
nerd.
have this beautiful new microphone.
Oh, look at that. Me too.
How do we sound? Do we sound good?
What's goof? Miguel said.
Good.
Good.
Good correction.
It sounds good, man. I love these freaking mics. So I have one of these Behringer XM 8500s, and then Jake has had one of these XM 8500s, and I like it so much that I wanted to replace the Shure I was using before. And then you need a new mic, and so I was like, this is perfect because these things are awesome for the price. They sound phenomenal. You do kind of have to creep, like you have to kind of
You gotta get on.
You gotta aim it correctly
You
to really
gotta
get
stay
right.
on the mic.
Kinda.
Mic.
But this is episode 117. Snakes and Stogies. Brought to you by BlackBoxCages.com. Right there where Phil is pointing. Facebook and Instagram, check them out. If you need a cage, you need a rack, you're shopping around, maybe you're doing some price comparison stuff, maybe you're being the modern internet consumer. And so you gotta look around and weigh your options. Lead times, not a problem here. We got some of the best lead times in the industry. Prices, they're competitive.
Fair.
Good.
Fair and competitive.
Correct. And customer service is something that is of utmost importance. So
100%.
Very quick to answer messages and things.
And maybe,
as long as we're awake and conscious.
Maybe you have a task that you need accomplished and other companies have turned you away, whether it's outside their capabilities or they can't do it in the time frame that you need it in. But BlackBox provides. They provide. And if they don't know how to do it, they'll figure it out. Just
that being said, they custom work is not something they typically do, but there's an option for everything. Every day I'm checking tubs in my racks and stuff from them, and I'm just always blown away at just how awesome they are. I've talked about how much I hate spilling water bowls with racks that are like stick or they're tight once you get them, almost all the way to the back there, and water bowls slosh everywhere, and then the substrate gets wet, and then it's just ugh. So not a problem with the BlackBox stuff.
And let's not forget about our OG sponsors, the fine people of the Pacific Northwest, the Gendra,
right,
Puget Sound Pythons.
That's right. Facebook, Instagram as well, YouTube. They just vended over the weekend. Sounds like they got some awesome stuff. They took some awesome stuff to sell. And said BlackBox, they'll do crazy custom shit. They'll kill me for saying it. Yeah, they don't do custom work. Henry had a very specific project that no one else could accommodate, and because he has been a customer in the past, Jen and Clint were kind enough to help him out. So,
absolutely. And just going back to the Gendra, it looks like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I definitely saw an Angolan python.
They got an Angolan. They're in the Angolan club now.
They're in the Angolan club. I am so behind in this. Like, it pains me.
I know. You're not around anymore, man.
Oh, I know.
It took you a week to get your present.
It didn't take me a week to get my present.
It felt like a week.
It took me like 48, a solid 36 hours. 36 hours.
And I'm not even going to tell him he's getting it. He's going to open it. He's going to call me and be like, this is awesome.
Well,
and then I was like, Phil, did you get it? And you're like, no, not yet.
Well, you text me and you're like, hey, man, there's a second box. Be on the lookout. And I'm like, okay, is it alive? And you're like, no, it's not alive. I'm like, all right, cool. If I don't get it promptly within 16 hours, it's not that big a deal. But Justin graced me. Am I showing it off right now? I mean,
if you want.
anyone who has Instagram should have already seen it. I mean, I plastered it all over my Instagram page.
I had posted pictures of them in the group when I got them made, and I was worried you'd see one and realize I had one, and then I talked about a raffle one, and I didn't mention the third one at all. So I was like, Phil's gonna know that that's coming to him. I was like, he's gonna figure it out.
No, I saw the picture that you posted of yours and the raffle one, but it didn't occur to me. And then I got this bubble mailer. I'm like, this is weird. What the hell did he send me? It was like a shoebox in a bubble mailer.
Trying to wrap it in a way that it wouldn't get damaged because the Postal Service doesn't care.
Yeah.
Lawless wasteland.
So this is it. This is the Snakes and Stogies cigar band tumbler. I'll try and show it off best I can with this poor camera. But look at all those brands and bands. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Some of those are ones that I smoked. Some of them are ones that I stole from the ashtrays at work when people left them.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it, man. And
dude, she did awesome. So it's
skull holder.
Yeah. Mine's sitting right here. Actually, I don't have mine on my cup, but she even did the bottom. Look at that Sin Compromiso there in the bottom and that 20-acre farm and all that good stuff. Oh yeah. Yeah, awesome. She did great. So it's her name is Dee Morris. Her husband actually has been listening to the podcast and stuff lately. She posted pictures of one she did that wasn't like someone else had ordered one with all the bands and stuff. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, I gotta get me and Phil one of those. So I've been planning this for like 2 months because I saw him weeks ago and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start saving bands. And so literally for the last like month, I saved every damn band I could, and I sent them to her. And I mentioned, like, I want to get 3 of them. I want to get one for me, one for you, and then one to raffle off because like that'd be an awesome raffle item. And so she was kind enough to donate the raffle one for us.
Awesome.
Which was awesome.
Oh yeah.
And so I sent the original set of bands, and I was like, I don't know if it's enough to even do one. And she messaged me and was like, yeah, I can do all 3 with the amount of bands you sent me. And I was like, what? Like, it didn't seem like that many in my head. Like,
yeah.
But when you send the stickers and stuff too, which is kind of the reason why I sent. So mine, don't knock over my monster. Mine has the Snakes and Stogies logo. And then Terry Burwell sent me some stickers when I got those rhinos from him. And so I put one of his on there. And that just helps take up more real estate. But
sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's freaking awesome, man. Like,
no, it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. I'm so happy with it, man. Like I was literally surprised as hell. I was like, what the hell is this shoebox in a bubble mailer? And then I opened, I was like, no. And then I opened the actual tumbler.
Hey.
And inside is this beautiful red bastard, the Liga Privada H99.
A T52 and a number 9, it is not, but it is a Liga. Is that what you're about? Is that what you're smoking tonight?
That's what I'm smoking tonight, baby. Got to do it. So, and I'm very much an aesthetics guy. So, the first thing you see is the aesthetics, is how it's wrapped, how it's presented. The actual fold of the cap, and then the band itself. And
being there's something about that band, man. That just like
yeah,
it's the same with that Passion that I like so much from La Roma de Cuba, like that mint green. There's just something about, there's some labels that you see, Sin Compromiso as well. You see it and you're like, I gotta put that in my mouth.
And even though, so I love the Liga Privada brand because, and speaking of the logo itself, I love the Liga Privada brand because it has that, that pen signature Liga Privada,
right,
and it just looks good,
like a prototype kind of thing. And like it's unofficial, official kind of thing.
Right, exactly. And anyone who smokes a lot of Drew Estate stuff, they'll realize that you learn it real quick because you fall in love with each brand and each style. And this one, like you said, it's not a 52, it's not a number 9, it's its own thing. But the fact that the tobacco itself has a reddish hue to it, and this camera is just not picking it up. But
they did a good job of matching sort of that font with the color of the cigar to where you just like kind of like, I guess the number 9 I can't really say because that's just a dark cigar with the darker font. But yeah, like that's this odd sort of Corojo Habano hybrid wrapper that they made for this cigar. I don't know the exact science behind it, but is pretty interesting. When I heard they were doing a Corojo in the League of stuff, I got excited because I love Corojo wrappers on cigars. And that, I mean, that is a fantastic cigar. It's much more nuanced. It's much more sort of subtle than your T52s and your number 9s. It's not a hit you in the back of the throat powerhouse kind of thing like you get with those other two that are just bolder, richer.
Yeah.
This one's much more sort of delicate, intricate, however you want to say. But
well, at first glance, anyone who drinks beer, like if you're gonna call the 52 like a bold lager, and then you call the number 9 like a rich stout, this literally screams to me Irish red.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's the happy medium between those two beers.
Yep.
And I'm gonna light it up right now. So
nice.
While I do that, what are you smoking, sir?
Roma Craft Cro-Magnon Toro. This is
excellent.
I don't know, man. So this is kind of odd because I smoked a Aquitaine earlier, a Corona, which is the same cigar, just a different wrapper. So this is a Connecticut broadleaf Maduro. Aquitaine is a Ecuadorian Habano. And I don't know, man, like your palate does change over time. So with Ligas, initially, I was very big on the number 9s, which is also a Connecticut broadleaf Maduro like these guys. But then over time, I started smoking the T52s more, and I actually preferred the T52 over the 9. And it was the same with the Aquitaine in this. Like, I just liked that Aquitaine more. And I still like T52s more in the Liga stuff. But when it comes to the broadleaf, man, this is just, for whatever reason, I've been on a kick with Cro-Mags over Aquitaines. So Phil is struggling there. You running out of gas there, buddy? But your palate changes. I mean, like, it also depends sort of over time. Like, you know, instead of wanting something complex and sort of peppery, you want something that's more one-dimensional, richer, but smooth still and just silky, which is where like the Connecticut broadleaf stuff, at least some of it comes in. Some of the Tabernacle stuff from Foundation, you know, they have a Connecticut broadleaf, and to me, it's much more rustic. It's a much harsher kind of blend for me, at least, in comparison to these in the number 9s. So I don't know. Mike Cuppin said, my palate can't change. It never developed. I am not going to the Atlanta Repticon this weekend.
So aside from my lighter literally on death's door, I got to fill it up. I'm an idiot. There's nothing in it. It's empty. Which I'll go do in a second. But I was afraid because it was so weak in terms of its flame. I didn't want to pull too hard and then have the thing scorch itself. So I got it right about there, which is good. First draw was kind of anticlimactic, man, to be brutally honest.
Like I said, when you're going into it sort of expecting it to be like that level of power that you get from T52s and number 9s, it definitely ain't it. It's sort of the redheaded stepchild of the legal world in a sense. Like, they're not bad cigars by any means. I think we talked about it like a week or two ago when I was smoking one. Like, they've been hyping that cigar up for like 2 years now, and no one got their hands on it. And now people are. And honestly, sales for those, like the hype when no one had them, everyone wanted them. Now that shops are getting them, like they're sort of DOA in terms of like demand and stuff. And I think a lot of it is like people got them, tried it. They were like, this is nothing like a T52 or number 9. Like, this is much more tame. And so people are kind of like, man, like it's a one and done. Like, yeah, I tried it. It's all right. And, you know, I'm going back to my 9s and 52s. So not a bad cigar at all, though.
It's picking up nicely. It is. And it's not getting too hot too quick. And I got to be honest, man, it's not a number 9 like we talked about. I will probably take it at first third. I'll take it over 52. But we shall see. Time will tell.
I think it's a lot like those beers you had mentioned. Like, if you're not in the mood for a stout or that,
right,
that other one, like you got to kind of be in the right sort of mood or headspace to want that flavor. But I don't know. So Phil and I got one of these cups. We also have one. It's been a while since we've done a raffle in the Snakes and Stogies group on Facebook. We have one of these cups, not the same type. It's actually one of the bigger like Yeti tumblers. we have one that was made that has the Snakes and Stogies sticker on it and stuff like that with all the bands. We're going to be raffling that off. We're still trying to figure out what else we're going to do, who we're going to have it benefit. So I don't know. I'm sure sometime over the week we'll have it ironed out and get it kicked off and make it happen. So it's going to be some good stuff. I think we're kind of, that cup is definitely going to be one of the things we talked about. There's this Benchmade cigar cutter that Phil has had for a couple months now. That's been waiting to be raffled. He's got a hook that needs to be raffled. I talked about getting like one of the door sweeps that I use and some of the shims. Have the Smitty,
100%
Smitty security pack.
Yes, the Smitty security pack. I love it.
And I'm sure, whatever else we can find, it'll just be it'll be good. So we've done really well with those in the past, and it's nice to be able to benefit ASF and some of the other folks that we've donated to, and it's just cool to figure out some cigars or maybe a gift certificate to the shop. I don't know. We're gonna iron out the details. It's gonna happen. So if you're in the Snakes and Stogies group on Facebook, keep an eye out for that because it'll be good. So
yeah, I'm really excited because it's been a while since we did any raffle type stuff, and I like our small batch charity stuff because, forgive my neighbor's dog.
Can't hear it. It's not like your other mic, man.
Oh, it's not like you can't hear that. It's so.
I mean, I could hear a little bit, but barely.
Oh wow, good stuff. New microphone. Thank you, buddy. So I like it when we do our charity stuff because there's so many times that we as herpers and reptile keepers and just animal enthusiasts, we donate to a good cause, and most of the causes are big. They're big charities, they're big organizations. What the ones that we're focusing on are very small, and the money that we generate goes a long way. So we want to try and get cool stuff for you people. That way you guys can enjoy what's what and know that your money is directly going to a great cause that's not just some big corporation.
Well, too, the plan is, at least for me, when we do raffles too in the future, in the near future, within the next couple months, I'm going to start putting some animals up. Like I'm going to put some corns, beards, whatever. Eventually, like I'll even put rhinos up. Like I don't care. Like it's just one of those things where it's like it's just cool to do. It's fun to do. Like I like hooking people up with awesome stuff that they want and like helping out good causes like ASF and stuff that really do make an impact. And I know we have a lot of people in the Snakes and Stogies group that don't smoke cigars, and so for the people that don't need cutters or cases or anything like that, like this is a good way for them to be able to get involved with that as well. Obviously the only issue is I don't have anything to raffle off right now. So I'm working on that. Gonna have some eggs here soon. One of the, I guess, quick update, Ladies Island female corn is due to drop like any day now. I don't know what she's waiting on. She's been in and out of the lay box, pacing, doing her thing, so she's trying. Got some other stuff that's in shed, had some stuff that did shed, whether that was a pre-lay shed or not, I'm not 100% sure. So the other locality female, she shed, and she didn't look gravid, so I put the male back in with her in case they just needed more time. Blood reds, she shed as well. I don't know if it was a pre-lay or not. I don't think it was, so I don't know. Like we're still sort of playing it by ear. The Dion's female is definitely gravid. She had a pre-lay shed. Probably won't get eggs from her. Yeah, won't get eggs from her for probably another 2 weeks or so. The Bimaculata, I'm fairly certain is gravid as well. Haven't had a pre-lay shed from her yet though. That Ghost Tessera from Chris that I'm borrowing, she's in a shed cycle, so I'm hoping that's pre-lay. I know the male tried because I saw some man juice on the lay box.
It's the signs we like to see, buddy.
So efforts were made, yes. And then Baird's, I think I got some het hypos. I think that female's got some cooking. The Loma Altas, I'm not sure yet still. I haven't seen a ton of interest from either of them or heard anything while I'm in the room, any of the racket they make. And then the Thorn Scrubs, I separated them just to feed them. I may put them back together, but I haven't had any action from them either. So we'll see.
You got it mapped out, man. Time will tell.
But even look, JT even said he might be able to throw in an animal to raffle since it's for a good cause.
There we go. There we go.
And it works out because, like, when it comes to shipping and stuff like that, if the person who donates wants to pay for shipping out of their pocket, they can. But we've also typically, when we shipped out cigar stuff or whatever, like, the money for shipping was taken from all the stuff that came in. So it's like no one's having to pay for anything out of pocket. It just makes it easier. So we'll, full disclosure. I think so far, actually, with the last couple raffles we did, I think we raised over $1,000 for ASF and HCI, and
fantastic.
I've got a list of other organizations that I really like to donate to. If anybody else can think of any that are herp related, please send me a message so I can add them to the list, because we're always on the lookout for people that we can help out and benefit. And we kind of, at one point, we had talked about having sort of a rotation of organizations that we donate to every month, because we do my plan was to do a raffle every month. The only reason that hasn't happened is because we have the samplers, and I try not to, when you have like a $60 sample, a $60 sampler, and then a raffle in the same month, like, people kind of then start to have to choose as to whether they want the sampler or they want the raffle. Honestly, I'd rather they do the raffle, because that goes, the samplers just help Buford Tobacco. Like, it's a business thing. It has nothing to do with charity or raising money for anybody. So
yeah, it's a give and take. Buford
right.
Tobacco makes extra sales, and the fine people of the Snakes and Stogies group get to benefit with a bundle pack.
Yep. So I'd prefer we do more raffles, just because, like I said, it's a really easy, simple way, non-invasive, as I like to call things like that don't require a lot of work but have the most efficiency and result. So it's good. I think it'll, if it's something that we could even do, like, maybe we do not necessarily monthly, but like once a quarter, do like a big one, kind of like Southeast Carpet Fest or Carpet Fest level. Like, anyone who wants to donate, not going and knocking down doors or anything like that, but anyone who has something they feel like donating, as long as they're legit and not going to screw somebody out of an item, cool. Then we'll figure something out, and I'll talk to Ben, because we had the Carpet Fest website that we were going to set up to do auctions and stuff on, that hasn't been finished yet, but I think it's very close to being done. If we can set that up separate so we don't have to do all this on Facebook and worry about getting zucked, it'll be perfect. So
awesome.
We'll see. But I think it'll be a good avenue to raise money for all the right people.
Excellent. And I don't know if let me clear my throat. Excuse me. The arsonist has oddly shaped feet. So I don't know if we ever touched base on this either, but for those of you who attended last Daytona, we had a giant Herpetoculture magazine banner, like 6 feet by 4 feet, big vinyl banner. I am going to do my best to get every person who contributed to that project to basically make a COA, a certificate of authenticity, and have everyone sign it, even if it's a digital signature. And we're going to submit that banner to the auctions at Daytona for US Arc. So for those of you who contributed,
I don't know who would want it, but all right.
Well, I mean, it's somebody might like it, and we figure we're going to donate that to US Arc, and hopefully it can generate a little bit more money. And yeah, so if you're going to Daytona and you want to get that banner to hang in your snake room with some kind of COA, definitely keep an eye out.
And for what it's worth, you can still buy all the issues. Like, that never went away. If there's still an issue you wanted, they're still available. The website is still there with all the articles. It's just the herpetoculturenetwork.com now, or herpetoculturenetwork.com. Yeah. So still rocking and rolling.
Well, I'm going to go fill up my lighter because it is on death's
struggling.
door. Yeah, it's crappy. So, and hopefully that I can jumpstart the Liga when I get back.
Let me see. I'm going to see if I can pull up what we've raised for sure. Oh, let's see. Mike Kosicki. Anybody got anything hatching right now? Eggs happening? Where's everybody at with the breeding stuff for this season so far? Horsey F9 GANJ. I know JT's got a lot of stuff happening. Everyone take 5. Thank you, Billy. See, the problem is I have a ton of documents. I have like a Google Drive for the magazine, then I have a Google Drive for my stuff, and I have a ton of stuff split between them that are really probably should be together, and so I have to flip back and forth between accounts. Let's see. Yeah, so far from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 raffles. Honey Head Cinders pipping today. Hell yeah. So far we have raised $1,428.91.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. That's way more than I actually thought we did.
Yeah, so I have like Rattlesnake Conservancy, Highlands and Islands, which I love, Justin Eldon and the boys, USR Asclepius Snakebite Foundation, HCI Save the Choco, King Cobra Conservancy, Golden Frog Project, Panama Amphibian Rescue and Conservation Project, Cigars for Warriors, and then ASF, obviously. I try to keep a list of potential people we can donate to. So, and then I have a spreadsheet with everyone's address that's bought or had stuff shipped to them. I keep track of these things.
Excellent. Good record keeping.
I know where to find you.
I know where they live.
Did you get it fixed? You good to go?
I did. I filled it back up. We're liquid.
Hey, Clint said BlackBox can donate an XA Bio G to that raffle blank top with a screen side fence. That's what I have my rhinos in, and they are freaking awesome.
Excellent.
Vic said he had a couple locks with the Pueblans. Almost said Popuans.
The Pueblans.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The raffles are just fun. They're relatively easy to do. Well, they're much easier to do than like the auction kind of thing, where people are bidding and you have to keep track of all that. But it's just good. It's a good way for people to get cool stuff and cool organizations to get the extra boost.
It's what we do, man. Bringing the people together, bringing the animals together, protecting the animals, protecting the people.
The Justin needs to find a Coral Snake Foundation.
Yeah, I was just looking at some peeps that we know have been finding some corals lately. Yeah, it looks like it's all North Florida. So I don't know, man. I'm always on the hunt, always on the look. Now Billy the weather's. Billy doesn't need a python. Billy's got plenty of pythons. Oh, Billy Jenkins, you saucy cat. Actually, it's funny is I have Hondurans from Vic, and they are savages. They will literally eat anything you put in front of them and do everything in their power to run away and or bite and or poop on you. They're classic colubrids. So if you want a tip-top wild specimen, definitely hit up Vic.
I had some Hondos when I was but a boy, and those things were like just spazzy little bastards, man.
And see what's crazy.
As soon as you touched them, they were like, nope.
I had Hondos when I went on my king snake kick back in the early 2000s. Like I had several different tangerines, and they were all super chill, man. Super chill. So who knows? Every batch is a little different.
I don't know, man. So speaking of freaks, the little female Ultramel stripe that Chris sent me is a freaking nut, dude. Like, I open the tub. It's a little guy. It's a little hatchling. Like, I open the tub and move the hide or something, and it literally just springs and just goes out the tub and flops everywhere, and then tries to, get back behind the other tubs on the rack, and just it's ugh.
Yeah,
He's a handful. I'm like, I hope that breaks eventually, and that's not going to be a problem.
I'm sure it will. But I had the same thing happen with the baby telescopus, and they're not in the venomous room. They're in my normal baby snake rack with all the harmless stuff. And I did the grab it real quick, and then I realized what I was doing. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get bit. This is great. And I just kind of loosened my grip a little bit, and he chilled out, and everything was fine. But it gives you that it's that reminding of, just because we treat it like it's not dangerous doesn't mean it can't have some clinical effects.
Something could happen.
Yeah, exactly. So just our friendly reminder to everyone who keeps dipsadids or rear fang or opistoglyphs or whatever you want to call them. Be cautious, be mindful.
Yes. What's anything new going on over the week on your end?
Not too much. I've been fattening geckos up, and dude, it's amazing how they put those waxworms put the weight on, man.
Yeah,
they do. And just trying to do that. And I've got girdle tails that are going to get paired probably this week. I keep saying end of the month, and well, now it's the end of the month, so they're going to get paired. I actually I have this picture. I went to go check she's a 3-year-old female that I separated and isolated just so she'd have her own Exoterra. And forgive me if I've shown this. I don't think I have, but I'm going to actually, because this computer is so slow, I'm going to send it to myself on Facebook. So bear with me a moment, but it's that classic story of you make this incredible enclosure, and you do everything in your power to make the habitat as hospitable and naturalistic and realistic as possible. And they find the one crack.
They just don't care
in the styrofoam in the back of the exo. And it's like, why do I try? Why do I try?
It's wasted.
So this is her. And despite her being as fat as she is, she's definitely not gravid, because she was too young when I separated her from her brothers and sister. All right, that should have sent. But
are you planning to pair knobs?
I am planning on pairing knobs. I basically,
is there a typical season for those?
It would have been a month ago, 2 months ago, but I kept winter cold and I kept it longer. So okay. I will cross my
shifted
fingers.
That window a little bit.
Yeah, definitely shifted that window. And I've been having bad luck with the females being receptive. And the males are like, yo, let's go. It's that time. Let's do it. And the girls are like, get the fuck away from me. I don't care how many cocktails you buy. I don't care how fast your car is. Go away.
That's how that female blood red is. I think when I put that male in there, she's like, nah, man, not happening.
Yep. So they're definitely going to get paired probably next week. Let me share this. Share screen, window. Justin gets to see it ahead of time. So
pancakes.
That's a 3-year-old girl stuck behind the styrofoam backer of the Exoterra. And it's crazy because you don't realize how many belly scales they got until she's smushed and flat.
Seems like a really good opportunity to get out of the loop and look for pores.
Oh, well, yeah, 100%. And that's her brother that's a little smaller than her, which I'm not going to pair them. I want to try and diversify the gene pool as best I can. His pores are completely different than hers. So when they're pressed up on the glass like that, it makes it super simple. Yeah. But just to give you an idea of what we're working with here, that's it. So this beautiful live grass planted enclosure and that's where she goes.
I've never understood what the point of that cut is in the back of those styrofoams. Is it just so that they can actually go against the glass?
Well, no. So if you look at, I don't
Create
know
a
if you can.
vacuum?
No, I don't know if you could see my cursor. Can you see the cursor?
Yeah.
All right. So see this little light patch here, this little light patch there.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the holes that you can open and close the holes for wires. So you can
Gotcha.
run wires and or like tubing for plumbing if you have like a waterfall or a fountain or whatever. And then the wires if you want to put some kind of heating element on the inside, or if you wanted to run the power to that, water pump or whatever. That's what this channel is for, so you can run wires. Well, she carved out the bottom of the styrofoam with her claws and then shimmied up in there, because that's the top of the enclosure, and it's a 2-foot, it's an 18-inch high. So crazy lizards. What are you gonna do?
I mean the amount of species I've seen that somehow got their way back behind that foam is pretty impressive.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't stop them from doing it. I just let them do it. They still eat. They still poop. They have their designated pooping corner that they always return to. So like, I don't worry too much about it. And it's nice because at 10 o'clock at night, they're asleep. I can get behind the cage and take photos like that and just do kind of a half-ass wellness check, if you will. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Kevin wants to know, can you check for ovulation in knobs? I don't personally know. I will reach out some feelers to some other guys that are way better at this than I am and see. I've noticed my girls swell up with eggs and then drop fertile and infertile, depending on what year it was. But so you definitely see that. But when I've paired stuff, there was no visual indicator that I could see. So. And just to show people what the enclosure looks like, if it loads, that should be there now. Oh, it didn't send. There it is.
I sent Podfather the link. I don't know if that was a plan for him to hop in or not, but
okay. No, it was just an idea.
Oh.
So we'll see if he joins in.
You said jump and I said how high.
I know, I love it. All right, so there's her.
I feel fooled.
And then this is like that looks good, man. That's a little piece of Africa.
Yeah, I like that.
She don't care. She wants to hide behind the foam. So whatever works.
Same with the Ackies. It's like I gave you all these awesome little hiding spots and you guys just smother yourself under the little dig box that's like 5 pounds.
Yeah, right. So hopefully I can get them to pair up. I've been really focused on temperatures and humidity with them and trying to change stuff. And it was actually good that my one proven consistent breeder female, her heat lamp burnt out right when I was going to start dropping temps. So I was like, this is perfect. And I just left it. And I didn't buy a bulb for almost 4 months. So I just put one in, and I actually, for them, excuse me, for them, I actually use Exoterra makes a heat bulb that's specifically for aquatics, and it has like a film on it so that if your turtle is splashing around and water particles splash up or droplets splash up onto the bulb, it won't pop the bulb and shatter the bulb and you get glass all in the water. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I got those years ago because I miss the crap out of them. I make the cage flood, rainy season, here it comes, prepare for the flood. And they last forever, man. Those things are great. So if you've got a scenario, like whether you're doing chameleons or you're doing some kind of arboreal geckos and you're misting a lot and you're spraying a lot and you're worried about the lamp getting wet, I highly recommend those Exoterra aquatic heat bulbs. Whatever film they put on it, man, it works like $1,000,000.
I never thought about that. That makes sense. Yeah, Cox said, gross, now it's going to be monitor talk. Speaking of, I fed crickets to mine today, and it was like something out of Jurassic Park, man. Like Marv grabbed a cricket, and then Henrietta saw that Marv had a cricket, and so she wanted that cricket, and so she
Nice.
had one end of the cricket, he had the other end of the cricket, and they were just doing tug of war with this poor thing, man.
Oh, that
It was
sucks.
just like the T-Rexes in Lost World when they get the guy and they like split him in half.
Oh
and
yeah.
they're trying to save him from going over the cliff. It's freaking brutal, man. It's like, and I put like a good bit of crickets in there, and so I was like, why are you guys even fighting over the same one? It's like there's literally a bunch all around you. You know, come on.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
whatever.
I did something similar. So in anticipation for Knobtail season, I did something that I've known about for a while and I've never actually attempted to do. Maybe it was naive of me, maybe I was too paranoid and being a helicopter mom, but I gave all my adult female cinctus live pinkies, one each. And I didn't feed them that week because I didn't know how they'd handle it. A lot of the Carphodactylidae family of geckos, they'll gorge themselves because they don't know when their next meal will be, and they'll actually throw up like a cricket hairball, if you will, if they've consumed too much. Yeah, a gecko pellet, if you will. It looks like an owl pellet. It's super weird. It's all like cricket parts and legs and crap. But I was like, you know what? Let me give them each a day-old pinky alive to entice, the feeding response and see how they handle it. So I videoed it, and I didn't know if that was something we could share or we want to share. I'm just worried about YouTube taking it down.
Yeah. I don't. They probably would.
All right, so we'll leave that one alone.
Yes, my Ackies are red, Cox. Are you?
Well, if
Ackies
anyone,
red?
What's that?
Cox and his typos. Are you Ackies reds?
Yes. Are your Ackies red? So if anybody wants to see that feeding video, DM me on Instagram. I'll send it to you. No problem. Obviously, we don't want YouTube to shut us down, even if it is a legitimate feeding thing and medical and whatever else. If you want to see it, let me know. I'll DM on Instagram. So, but yeah, I did that, and they housed him. They housed him down.
Wow.
It was like microscopic Gila monsters. It was adorable. So. And I'm really going to try and do the larger pairing enclosure. So basically, my enclosures, my tubs are too small. And what's been presented to me from other breeders who are more successful than me is that me introducing the male to the female's enclosure, because it's been so many years, they've now made that tub their home and they're defensive of it. So if I put both geckos into no man's land in like a V70 that just has like straight sand, nothing else, we might get some action. So I have an entire V70 rack that's empty. So I'm probably going to just do one pair at a time and just see how it goes, leave them together for a couple nights, see if I can get some locks and go from there.
Well, what's
that'll be this week.
The theory behind having them in a bigger tub like that triggers?
It's not the bigger tub per se as it is just a different tub.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. I took it upon myself to do the bigger tub so that if the girl really wanted to get away from the boy, she could. And if they needed some time apart to, relax, have a cigarette, go for a walk, then they could do that. So that was my thought process on it. And I know some of the bigger breeders for Nephris out west, like in California and stuff, they keep they keep like 1.2 or 1.1 in a CB70, and that's just what they keep them in. And then they just naturally pair up. So I may try that, but the problem is I kind of like the setup I have now, and I don't want to change anything because I have my temps right, I got my humidity right. So we'll see what happens, man. And if they lock up, great. If they don't,
it would be so cool to have.
Yeah,
it would be so cool to have a big like V70 with like a trio of Coleonyx in it.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. And talking to Papa Burke about doing a bioactive like 40 or 50 gallon with 3 or 4 milli, just cohabbing milli, and let them lay in the enclosure, let them hatch in the enclosure, and just start a milli colony, underwater source colony. So I think that would be super cool too.
Sometimes I think that's what I'm gonna end up like. That's what's gonna happen with the Jansenii, and not even on purpose. Like I'm gonna wake up one morning, there's gonna be a baby Jansenii in there because she laid 2 eggs somewhere buried in the back of the cage. Because I really don't go in there much. Like that cage in particular, I don't like to do a deep clean on a regular basis where I pull everything out and then nothing goes back in exactly the way it was, and like you can tell that it got kind of stirred up, and because that's a species that I think needs the same, like they need minimal disturbance. So I'm constantly just wondering, like there's gonna be a day where I'm gonna find a baby in there, just because they laid and went the distance, and not that I would complain about that, but
Yeah, I mean, dude, it begs to say, since you have planted plants in there, why not make 1 or 2 of those pots bigger and more loomy, so that they could use it as a nest box if they really wanted to,
yeah, and they have like a 6-quart box in there that is just full, like top to bottom of spag, and they do spend time in it because I can tell. Like I'll go in and periodically check that to make sure they haven't laid another clutch, but they have like the little tunnels that you can tell that they were in there.
Oh yeah.
So they spend a ton of time in it on a regular basis. That much I do know. But I do need to check the pothos that's growing in there, because when I water it now, I notice there's like it's almost like the dirt that was in there, it kind of deteriorated away.
Well, do you think it just settled?
It might have, but I was like, that's odd, because like I from what I can see from the front, it just, all I see is like roots and the pothos, and the pothos is growing like crazy. So that's not the issue. I'm just like, what happened to all the dirt that I had in there? Because I don't know, but
yeah, and I also think that there's something that I wanted to test that I'm going to go to Home Depot in the near future, because I want to get some PVC pipe to do some thinking outside the box projects. But I wanted to get those little straight fixtures for PVC that, like, it's like a joint unit that's not an elbow per se. I mean, you can probably do it with an elbow too, but on some of the terrestrial geckos, some of the, dare I say, shovel nosing snakes, the Gonyosoma, and hognose definitely, but things that are known to stick their face in some dirt, take just the piece of PVC that's the diameter of the animal and just stick it in there, and then kind of like cup out some of the dirt and give them a venue to dig. You know what I mean? So, and I feel like you could almost entice them and say like, oh wow, this hole's perfect. It's got good integrity. I'm going to dig there and just see what happens. Just put like 4 or 5 of them in the enclosure and just see if it works. So that's something I'm probably going to try maybe next week or the week after, when I get my ass over to Home Depot.
Yeah, I've heard of people doing something similar with like burrowing tarantulas, like obligate burrowers.
Yeah.
Not necessarily starting it with like a PVC pipe, but like starting a little hole in one of the corners, with like Haplopelma or whatever they are now, Cereopagopus, whatever. And
you can say Haplopelma, I'll allow it.
Yeah. They'll go and find that and see that it's already something that's kind of started. And sometimes, not all the time, they would take that and sort of run with it and make their own burrow from that. But
yeah,
I know it is kind of a crapshoot, because if they decide that's not the right corner, the top left corner is the one they need, not the top right, then
yeah,
I don't know. But that's something I had heard people doing a lot of. And I know with other stuff that likes to dig, people take some of that black, like irrigation piping, and semi-bury that some, so that there's something for them to dig in, and which is something I want to do with the Ackies. When I get them into a bigger cage, is have a pipe that goes down, but then have it connected, like maybe a big enough piece to where I can bury it and then sort of have it go like along one of the walls, like side walls or something, so that they can go down and in it, and I don't have to worry about all the dirt and stuff collapsing on them and them getting buried. Which I'm sure they would just dig themselves out. I don't think it's that serious.
You could do what I did with the Gila monsters and do the balloon trick. So you take a balloon, and the easiest way to do it is you get some
excavator.
I don't like doing excavator, because when it gets hydrated, it turns back into goo. So what you do is you take like a paper plate, and you fill it a balloon, about the size of a cantaloupe, and you put some grout on the paper plate and stick the balloon to it, and then you paint around the outside of the balloon, right?
Yep.
And you only do about a quarter of an inch thickness around it, and then you pop the balloon.
Yeah.
And now you have this bulb of grout, and then you could stick your black tubing in there and basically make an underground burrow. And that way, when the time comes and you need to scrape the poop and whatever else is down in that cave, you can just take the whole thing out, rinse it out into the sink. It's grout, it's water resistant, and go from there. So
I'm talking about like buried though, like down.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Buried
to the tunnel. Like I would worry about structural integrity, because if we're talking about a bigger cage, that's a lot of topsoil, a lot of sand. It's a lot of weight, and so that's why my thinking with the plastic tunnel is like I don't have to worry about that getting crushed under the weight of the sand and stuff as much.
Yeah, no, but that's what I was saying is you put your plastic tunnel into that, and dude, I don't know if it's grout, man. That stuff's really hard. So I don't know.
I don't know. I couldn't say. I mean, it'd be even cooler to go as far as to like, sort of like how they do like artificial reefs and stuff. Like find a way to mold something with quickcrete, or something like that, and bury it. And
as long as
that may
it's
not even be something
heavy.
difficult to do.
Yeah, as long as it's not too heavy. So.
Yeah, Miguel just said he usually starts a burrow for his fossorial species. He just picked up a Chilobrachys fimbriatus at the show over the weekend, which is cool.
Very.
I had one Chilobrachys at one point. I don't even know what species it was, and that thing was a freaking handful.
Oh yeah, not for me. One too many bathroom scenarios, if you catch my drift.
Unapproved strolls. Is that what Alford always called it? Unapproved field trips.
Oh yeah. Oh, unapproved field trips. That literally, that's that it's not for you when you carry the can of Raid when you're cleaning enclosures.
I never went that far. I just had a really big catch bin or something to.
Well, because that's the thing, dude. If it got up on the ceiling, like I'm screwed. So like if it exits the bathroom, it's getting raided. That's it, bro. It's done. Burn the house. So I'm exaggerating, everyone. I'm exaggerating.
I had a decent sized Regalis go literally from out of the container across the floor up I didn't have like doors on my closets at the time. I had just like some curtain kind of deals right up into the folds of those curtains. And I was like, the amount of time that it took to get from A to B was just unbelievable, because it was like lightning.
It's teleportation.
Yeah. And then having to cup it, and it's like I love Poecilotheria, ornamental tarantulas. I mean, I have a freaking tattoo of it on my arm. Like I freaking love ornamentals. Honestly, in comparison to like Haplopelma and some of the other stuff I had, like Salmopius, some of like the sun tigers and stuff, I was like, these are actually fairly tame in comparison in terms of like just the attitude. Like I found Poecilotheria, and I kept a majority of the species minus a few, but like Rufilata I never had, but I loved Ornata. That was one of my favorites, if not my favorite.
It's a classic, man. Anybody who's a spider guy or gal needs to at least have one once. Just try it,
Mm-hmm. And that genus I found to be pretty easy to work with and move around, and it was like the South American stuff seems so much more, and African stuff too. The arboreal African stuff, your H-Max and whatnot. It was like those things, like having to upgrade the H-Max when I had those was like, oh my god, here we go. Same with like the OBTs and stuff.
Oh yeah,
it was like, this is gonna suck. Like when I moved Poecilotheria, like it was like they kind of just bolt, and then they find the bottom of that new container, and they just stop, and they kind of just curl up and sit there, with like the freaking Pteronotulus and other stuff like that. It's like, this is gonna be,
dude,
this is gonna be a thing. Like this is gonna be an event. Like it's gonna be, chase them around. And
we make all these concessions as like, not concessions, that's the wrong word. We have our personal protocol to aid in our husbandry tactics of said bug, but it's only a matter of time before it gets away from you. So you have to have contingency plans, and that is solely why I stick to Grammostola.
No, I had a
So-
bunch of stuff, man. You know what? One species that I really loved, and this can be a spiders and stogies episode for all I care.
Nice.
What was it? Heterothele villicella.
What is that?
They're little, I think it's Trinidad Dwarfs, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I know what that is.
But they're small. Like they're a dwarf tarantula, but they're also communal.
Oh yeah.
And they were, I mean, they almost look kind of like a wolf spider. Like they're kind of interesting. But
isn't that what Trace Harden has?
I don't know.
Trace Harden has a massive communal colony of where he lets the moms just incubate the sacs themselves in the enclosure.
The Monocentropus.
Okay.
The Balfouri.
I think it is Balfouri.
Yeah.
That
those
name
are really
sounds
common.
great.
That's they have like they're tan with like blue legs.
Yeah.
That's Balfouri. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's one of the species of tarantula, like one of the few species of tarantulas that seem to do really well in communal setups.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have the villicella long enough to really experiment with it, because that was at the time where I think I moved out and broke up with somebody and thinned out the collection, and those were one of the things to go. But I do miss spiders and scorpions sometimes. I miss arachnids. You know, they're just
man.
There's just so much cool stuff. You know, we've talked about scorpions plenty, and all the awesome stuff that there, and having to choose. You know, would I rather have scorpions or spiders? It's like that's a hard choice for me. I don't know about you, but
it's nowhere near as hard for me. I'm scorpions. I'm team scorpion 110%, but I've always been scorpion heavy. You know, if it's in the Boothid, I've had it. You know what I mean? Or I've wanted it, I should say. I mean, I've probably had at least 40 or 50 different species of scorpion, at least, you know, and I've bred I think like 4 or 5 intentionally. So, and I think that is something that's really cool that I like about you and I specifically is that we have our diverse collections, but we
monitors and Maduros.
Nice. We have our diverse collections now, but we also used to do bugs. And obviously I know that arachnids are not bugs, it's slang. But anyway, I think that the fact that we went through that phase almost makes us better keepers because of the concepts of husbandry that are deployed on those arachnids that you could translate to reptiles and amphibians just on a bigger or slightly different scale. So I like that.
Well, I mean, you just have like the different, you know, I'm not going to keep Pacillotheria the same way I'd keep Brachypelma.
Right.
You know, like that's sort of apples to oranges. I just like, for me with scorpions, I really enjoyed Centruroides a lot. I had a lot of Arizona barks. I had a lot of Florida barks. I was really big into Babicurus too.
Of course.
You know, Jacksoni were like one of the coolest species. Yeah, right there.
It's faded. But that was the first scorpion species I bred on purpose.
I didn't get to the point of breeding with mine, at least not that I can remember, but it is, you know, Miguel said it's a slippery slope, and it really is. Like you can keep, the problem is you can keep a ton of inverts in very, very little space. And
quickly too. Like that shit adds up, and then you're like, oh my God, I have 100 deli cups. What the hell am I doing? Yeah.
Like there was a point where I had more inverts than I did reptiles by a very large margin.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then I was OCD because all the Boothid stuff, I kept it in locked visionariums. I had a stack of visionariums, and I could fit 3, 6, 9. I could fit 9 medium deli cups in one visionarium. So I was paranoid. I didn't want lethal bugs crawling around my bedroom when I was a kid. So there you go.
Yeah. I kept a handful of Androctonus, and I had some. So it's a subspecies of the Quinquestriatus, the Death Stalkers. It's I think the Habrius, maybe.
Sure.
I don't know how legit that subspecies was, because to me they just seem like Death Stalkers. But
yeah, well, you know. It's also too is that in the past decade, there has been so much taxonomic revision on anything that's in that Boothid family that there went from being 3, you know, Lieras to like 12.
Yeah, I believe 10.
It's also very country specific too. Like, for example, Libya has 2 different species of Liaris, but they are so identical to the common eye. Like, I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
They look exactly the same. So
yeah, it was either like Habrius or like for Judaicus for some reason sticks out in my mind, but I don't think
Judaicus, you're thinking of Raphalerus, the Cubans.
Maybe.
Oh no, that's Junkius.
Probably.
That's Junkius. Excuse me. That's Junkius. And then
they
changed Raphalerus. It's not even now; it's its own thing. So
I will say, like, that is the sort of the benefit I think of inverts is like you get like using nomenclature becomes the standard because common names and inverts, at least on like the serious level, like doesn't exist.
Yeah,
there's not people calling Metallica's Goody, Sapphires or whatever. It's like they're Metallicas. Right.
Yeah.
And so that was something that I picked up, and that really stuck with me too. After all that time of doing that, because like I said, people just don't use scientific names, and it's sort of like what we've talked about with snakes. You have snakes that can have 20 common names, but their scientific name's the same, and so that keeps everybody on the same page. Because people can get in, there's a lot of species for sale that you see in tarantulas in particular, especially Asian stuff, where they have a genus, they don't have a species name. It's like a genus, species, and then like maybe the area it came from, or
right. It's like Scolapendra. Scolapendra SSP.
Yep. And Cox actually asked about centipedes, and I had one once, and honestly, that is one of the few things in this world that really give me the willies. Like, they're cool. I really like the blue and the red ones and stuff are really neat. When I lived in Hawaii, they were kind of a problem. Like, you couldn't walk around barefoot sometimes. Like, one of the neighborhood kids got bit on the foot or something. Like, when I see people handling those things, it just, no thank you. And it's not even necessarily like the bite or anything. It's just the fact that it's like, it's a centipede, man. They're like kind of cracked out, just sort of fast, and like, I don't know. They just don't. I'm not into it.
Yeah, I had my centipede times, and I had some really, really unique stuff because I was lucky, working for the wholesalers. Some crazy stuff would come in that wasn't supposed to be there, and nothing like illegal or anything. Just, you'd order 500 centipedes and 2 would be unique, or not the right species. And I mean, I've had African blues, I've had Indonesian blues, all Scolapendra subspecies, Chinese tiger legs, Chinese blacks, just crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff that gives you the heebie-jeebies. And yeah, man, that's a tub inside a tub inside a tub inside your bathtub. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Mike said I have a Bacillotharia regalis because of Justin. I forgot you got that.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, the ornamentals is just such a cool group. Like, that's one of the things where I was like, I want a tattoo and I want a Bacillotharia, but if I'm going to do a Bacillotharia tattoo, it has to be folded. Like, it has to be doing the fold, and just, they're so cool.
Did you ever dabble with Avicularia?
A little bit. Nothing crazy, just like Avicularia, Yeah. There's nothing. There were some that I really wanted to get into and just never did.
Sure.
But I don't know. Like, I had some slings, and slings and Avicularia are just tough. Like, they got to have the right level of humidity, or they do horribly. They crash bad. But
ventilation too.
Salmopius, I enjoyed those. I had some sun tigers. Those things they have no fear.
Yeah, totally.
What else did I have?
See, my thing with the Avicularia was I had Metallicus and I had Versicolor. And dude, Versicolor is one of the most gorgeous animals on the planet. Like, just crazy, crazy colors. The blues and the purples and all that. But I got them specifically because of their aesthetics and the fact that you could hold them. Right. It wasn't.
That was the only tarantula I held on purpose.
A Vic.
Yep.
Yeah. But here's my thing, like the Versicolor, absolutely gorgeous. But if you breathed on them wrong, they were on the other side of the room, and you have to walk over there and scoop them up again.
And they're jumpers too.
And they're jumpers, and you gotta. I mean, this is gonna sound cockamamie, but you gotta play with them over a table, play with them over your bed, so God forbid they go for a flying leap, they don't smack the ground and die. So I wound up getting rid of them and going more towards Grammostola stuff. Just because I wanted to handle them and not worry about having a serious reaction, and not worry about them skydiving to their death. So
I'm trying to think of the other species I had that started with a P. It's New World. It's on the tip of my tongue. That drives me crazy.
Well, thank God for Google. And I actually, anybody who's familiar with the larger species of Scolapendra, there was an individual who lived around here. His name was Satellite Rob. And Satellite Rob was a kooky old guy, very eccentric, and he loved bugs. And Satellite Rob, I don't know how he got them. And everyone thought they were smuggled, but I think he just had someone in Europe just mail it to him, and like no one knew. He got Scolapendra hardwicki, which come out of India, and they are literally Halloween. They're one of the largest centipedes available anywhere, and they're black orange, and they get huge. They get a solid 10 inches, and he had them, and unfortunately he passed away from unforeseen circumstances, and no one ever found out how he passed away, but the rumor was that he got bit by one of those hardwicki. They wound up getting taken by his friend, who was also a bug guy, and I don't even know what happened to him, but I remember back then they were like a $200 centipede, and it was like, oh man, that's a lot of money. I can't afford a $200 centipede, and now I'm pretty sure they're like $2,000. So it's just crazy how times change,
Are there species of centipede that can kill you? Are there lethal centipedes?
I don't know. I think it's more of allergens, anaphylaxis, excuse me. And I think it also has to do with your body in general. If you have a kidney issue, if you have an immune system issue, something to that extent. You okay? You said, oh. You there? Am I frozen? Are you frozen?
I'm here. Are you there?
You lagged out for a second
frozen.
there. Oh, I was frozen.
Yeah.
What was the last thing you heard me say? Because I heard you go, uh-oh, and then you froze.
Anaphylaxis.
Oh. No, I was just saying that it could be anaphylaxis. It could be, if you had a kidney issue or you had an immune system issue, something to that extent. So.
This is driving me crazy, man.
Oh, you'll remember at 2 a.m. and text me.
I'm gonna look on Kelly Swift's site right now because I'm fairly certain he had them for sale at one point.
That is a name I have not heard in a very long time.
Dude, I spent a lot of a good bit of money with Mr. Swift.
And Henry says that subspinesis can be lethal, and I would concur with that. I actually had for the longest time. Arthropoda.
He's got those Tanzanian chestnuts, those Heterothellia villicellas that I was talking about.
Damn. Oh, nice. So Florida is very unique in terms of its bug laws. So in Florida, the arthropods are not governed by Fish and Wildlife. They're governed by the Department of Agriculture. So a lot of the bugs that are in the pet trade they're not governed. I mean, agriculture kind of doesn't give a crap. You know what I mean? It's not like, we're importing death stalkers by the thousands and letting them go in Fort Lauderdale or anything. I mean, that was a joke. That's not true. But Department of Agriculture used to have a license for possession, transportation, and dealing of restricted arthropods and pathogens. And I actually had that license. And you were allowed 5 species that had to be deemed appropriate by the Commissioner of Agriculture. And obviously it was one of their underlings who wrote it all out. And it was a super cool license because you would list these species. So it was 5 species. And if you paid for 5 species, everything after that was free. So naturally, I paid for the 5 species, and I had like 4 or 5 pages of addendums, just like every species I could think of: scorpions, centipedes, giant Hercules beetles. If it was a bug and I wanted it, I put it on that list. And when you get a license back from the state, whether it be the state that you live in or Florida or whatever, it's very informal. It's typed out. No, This one from Department of Agriculture was all handwritten. And there would be a notation next to each species. It would say, this species, you were denied this species due to the potential hazard to native plant life. And that was like, Hercules beetle, because they didn't want Hercules beetles getting loose in Florida and eating, native crops. But if it was a predatory arthropod, they pretty much signed off on it. So I had a license to have damn near every bug that was cool. And I think that in itself gave me a big head, and I went bug crazy. I had at least 100 scorpions, at least. And that may not sound like much to a bug guy or girl, person, but there's a lot of deli cups, man. It's 100 friggin' deli cups. So obviously I don't have that now. And I don't have the license. I let it lapse.
It was Topinocenius.
Topinocenius
is the species I was keeping and enjoyed.
Nice.
Enjoyed it so much I couldn't even remember what it was.
And what is it? Where's that from?
They're like in the Caribbean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Purple tree spiders. I don't even know if it was that species or if it was one of the other ones, but yeah, I don't know, man. I enjoyed my time with tarantulas.
Yeah, man, it's a good time. It's a good time.
Scorpions.
And you don't have to have a lot of them, to appreciate them. I'm a big fan of Grammostola, man. Like, people make fun of it, like, oh, you're a rookie, you got Grammostola, but Pulchra, dude.
Pulchra's the only one that does anything for me. I'm not gonna lie.
No, dude. Pulchra's awesome. Big, giant, jet black, friendly tarantula. Hands down, super cool. But I also love my Chacos. So like brown Chaco, golden Chaco. I can't remember the species name, but dude, I had a female golden Chaco.
Pulchra peas?
It might be. I had a female golden Chaco that was literally like it was bigger than a tea saucer. It was huge.
Did you ever keep Lasiodora?
Which one's Lasiodora?
The salmon pink bird eaters, Parahabana.
Oh no.
I never had some of those. That was a fast growing spider, man.
Yeah, but the problem is it's still a bird eater. You're still gonna have the defensiveness of it.
Those actually weren't that bad.
And I've seen them chew through deli cups, man. So not for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I had some. They were cool. They grow stupid fast. It's like the third biggest species in the world, I think. And they're really cheap. They're really common. And I mean, they were cool. I got haired by that one a lot.
Yeah,
and that was like one of the worst experiences because I didn't even know I had been haired. And so I initially, and so then I went and rubbed my nose or something because my nose itched. Mm-hmm. And I got those hairs all in the lining of the outside of my nostrils and stuff. And it sucked. Like getting haired by the New World stuff is horrible. It's like if you'd coated your hand in fiberglass and then rubbed your face.
Oh yeah. You just get some duct tape and go to work. Now, I will say this. I have tried to keep Smithy over and over again. I got small males. I got big females.
They're Hammerai now, actually.
Oh, they're Hammerai. So I tried and I failed, man. They didn't do well for me. And dude, all my stuff's arid. All my stuff's desert. They just didn't do it. And they always kicked. They always had a bald abdomen. They always kicked. And I think it's just my luck, man.
I had vegans for a while, and vegans they're all right. They were, it's a spider,
Yeah. They're supposed to be vegans by me.
I really wanted a Ratum and never got my hands on any of them.
That's
because a Ratum is one of the more expensive Brachypelma, right up there with the Hammerai or Smithy, whatever you want to call them. And yeah, one of the coolest species I did keep though, and it never got. They're very slow growing, but it was just really interesting because they did the stridulations and stuff, and that was the king baboons.
Oh yeah,
I had one of those, and it was a small guy. It wasn't anything. It was a juvenile, but that thing too, no fear, man. Just you bump the cup and legs are up, and it's hissing because it rubs the back legs against the abdomen and it causes this like hissing sound almost.
Yeah.
And you could barely hear it when it was that small, but you were like, what is that? It was, but that was
Now,
just a cool
Are they
spider.
the ones that have the particular neurotoxin that affects brain synapses?
I have no idea.
There's one of them that is nowhere near as painful as the rest of them, but it has a unique neurotoxin that does something to brain synapses. I'm gonna have to Google that later. So, but yeah, man, bugs are awesome. It's a cool change of pace, you know. I unfortunately I think those days are behind me for now. Maybe I'll revisit them in the future. But there's a lot of captive bred stuff, man, now. A lot of captive bred stuff. And you know, Matt and Jamie wound up getting Lycus jordanensis, which was a dream bug of mine for decades, and they got him. I mean, they paid $200 for a sling. But dude, that was the coolest thing ever. It's a black death stalker. Super cool, you know. So
yeah. There was a lot of the Centuroides I never got my hands on that I really wanted. A lot of the Titus. I only kept, I think, Stigmurus.
Yeah,
but
dude, everyone had Stigmurus at one point.
The communal species were the ones that I really enjoyed the most. Like that's why I liked bark scorpions so much, and like Arizona barks and Florida barks, because you keep a communal group of them, and they did great. And it was so cool to see, you know, the breeding process and like, you know, the dance, and then you see the females look like they're about to freaking pop, and then you wake up and you see a bunch of little tiny babies all over her back, and like I got like one of those trays that people use to like organize their beads and stuff, and I was raising up little gracilis.
Oh, that's
like
awesome!
One to each of those, and like it's cool, man. And
yeah, super cool.
Like the communal species in particular were really neat, and I had some was it Haedogenes, the troglodytes?
Oh yeah,
those were some of the first scorpions I had. Those were cool. That was another one that I would actually take out and like could handle with really no risk or anything like that.
Sure.
And they were just, I remember I tried to pair those up at one point, and the male, like, he put the spermatophore down, but he never got the female over to it. But you know, it was just interesting.
Yeah, man.
Scorpions are cool, dude. Like that's what I'm saying is like if someone made me have to choose, it's like you love them both so much. It's like I don't know what I could do, but
oh yeah, dude. I remember when I got paranoid because I did Babecuris Jacksoni first, and I watched them dance. I watched him plant. And then I had to leave for something. I think my girlfriend, when I were going out, it was like 10 o'clock at night. We were going out to the club or something. And when I came back, they were separated. And I was like, all right, the job's done. And then I went to check on the gigas. And dude, the gigas were like, they had like this post-coital like cuddle session. It was crazy, man. And they would literally like spoon each other. It was super interesting. And I wound up getting some pictures of it. It's probably on my old phone, but here I actually have an old album on Facebook that I'm going to share with some bugs from back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know what it was about Jacksoni that I was just so obsessed with in my formative years, but that was like that was a species that it was like, okay, I have to have it. And I remember reading, people were like, yeah, they're hot. Yeah, they're not like super hot.
Yeah,
they're, you know, it's like definitely don't get stung by it, like medically significant, sure. And I don't even know how I managed to get my hands on some. And that's the other thing is like having inverse shipped through the postal service is just odd too, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think too is there was a lot of that East African stuff that came in, man. And like I remember you had mentioned Haedogenes, and I had gotten troglodytes. And then I had also got Posiodens, and dude, I couldn't get the troglodytes to breed at all. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, the Haedogenes group of scorpions are very, very weird looking. They're flat rock scorpions.
Yeah, they're like the pancake tortoise of the scorpion world.
Exactly, they're the pancake tortoise scorpions. They have these big, gigantic claws and this super flat body. But they're sexually dimorphic. The males have this
Yes.
gargantuanly long tail.
Tail that's like the same length as the body,
if not longer, I'm
if
sure.
not more. Yeah.
Yeah. And the females have like just a stout little normal tail. But I couldn't get the troglodytes I used to go, but I did get the Palmettocoastexotics. And I remember I had my first litter and I was raising them up, and somebody told me, they're like, oh, Strictly got in like 10,000 Palmettocoastexotics. And I was like, okay, no one's gonna buy these. So I just gave them away to friends, because who was gonna pay money for a captive bred bug back then? No one cared, But here's some
well, they also have like a ridiculously long gestation period too, don't they? Like small broods and really long gestation times. Like I think that's a big part of why people didn't bother, is because it was like the juice just wasn't worth the squeeze.
Sure.
And it sounds like the females were actually kind of, if I'm recalling right, like the females eating the babies was for whatever reason more of a problem with those than it was other species, which is just odd, because
that
such a gentle.
I only got exactly the most gentle species. If you got stung by a heterogenous, you were doing something wrong. I think the most I had from that genus in a litter was like 10 or 12.
Yeah, it's minimal in comparison, like Centroides and stuff. I think even 10 or 12 sounds big.
Well, and what I was going to say is that of the 10 or 12, within the first 24 hours, you were down to 8 or 7 because mom was going to eat. And like, it makes sense, man. Like, you take the weakest baby and mom eats it because mom had depleted all those nutrients from just popping them out. So here is a Usambara. And that's a giant moth that I saw on the side of a building. I have no idea why I took that photo. It's kind of cool. There's a pulchra.
Yep.
Good looking pulchra. Chubby bunny. Sir Smeringerus, which I thought was super cool.
Those were fun as hell.
Super fun, man.
Those were some that I put some of that excavator clay in, and they just went to town.
And
they were like, they're a U.S. species, and they're just really spazzy, but watching them dig, because you'd see them like just little things of dirt would just be coming out of this hole, and it's that damn scorpion burrowing and stuff, and like those things were they're like on speed constantly. Like it was such a fun little species. I had I think one or two of them, and they were cool as hell, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So there's some Hottentotta.
Oh yeah, I never got into those either. That was the one I always wanted to.
This one actually came in on a shipment of Dropkins Bicolor, and I was going through, hundreds of bicolors, and they
stinging land lobster.
yeah. And dude, I saw this one. I was like, man, the tail is totally wrong, and those pincers are totally wrong with the red hue on the tip of the pincers. So I was like, this has got to be. And I went up looking, and sure as hell it was Judaicus.
Yeah, see, it's odd because like Androctonus are like the Dwayne Johnson of the scorpion world, and then for some reason like Hottentotta are like the Danny DeVito but beefed up. Like they're squatter and they're rounder and they're more rotund, but then you see like the tanks that are Androctonus.
More rotund.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So this is my first ever Diplocentris. So, dude, by the way, these photos are dated 2009. I don't think they're 2009. I think they're older than that. I think 2009 is when I put them on Facebook.
Aren't those the ones we saw in Texas?
Those are the ones we saw. Yeah, no, those are the ones we saw in Texas. One of the ones we saw in Texas. So this is the Big Bend scorpion from the Big Bend National Park in Texas. And dude, this is like, I know I said it when we were on our trip. It was so special to me to see them in the wild, because this is one of the first scorpions I ever had. And you're raising it up from a scorpling, or whatever you want to call it, and an instar, whatever you want to call it. And dude, seeing them in the wild, like super cool, man. Super cool. So there's the Junkius. So this scorpion is actually one of the first 2, 4, 6. They're one of the first 6 in the country ever. So my friend Tom and I were really big into unique stuff, and he had messaged a guy in Sweden who had smuggled them out of Cuba. He went on vacation with his family.
That's the Cuban barks?
That's the Cuban bark. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not called Raphalurus anymore. They have a different genus name. But he smuggled them out in his luggage from
They're
Cuba
not
to
Centroides.
They're not Centroides.
Okay.
And they have another unique name. I can't remember.
They're like monotypic.
Yeah, exactly. And then he wound up breeding one of the pairs that he smuggled, and then he only had 6 babies, and he sold them to a guy in New York. He imported them into New York, and then me and my buddy Tom, we each bought a pair from the guy in New York. And they made it to like 8th instar and died. So sad panda. But they were cool, man. Super rare. There's your troglodytes.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking about with the flat rock scorpions.
Yeah.
They're just odd. They're like something out of Minecraft.
That's a great way to put it, man. Totally something out of Minecraft. So Hemi Scullopendra. So this is your Chilean blue. Rumor has it there's a patch of these in Miami, but I don't believe it because we have a native blue centipede that is in southern Florida. So I think people just confuse them. This one was imported. So there's your Malayan black tip with eggs.
I have always found that interesting, like the whole process of them with like egg laying and curling around them and stuff. That I did find that is cool about centipedes. I will say that.
So I don't know what happened to this clutch, but she nurtured those eggs for about a week, and then she ate about half of them and then discarded the ball. Nice. So I don't know if they were infertile or what, but I kind of, one might say I got lucky, one might say I did not get lucky. So and there's the gigas, and that's one of my all-time favorite photos because the contrast.
Cool, man.
Oh yeah, dude, that's one of my all-time favorite scorpions. And this is one of those parents I was saying had like a post-coital cuddle sesh. And this baby eluded me. So once the babies have their first molt, I pull them all, or at the time I had pulled them all, and I guess this baby was buried in there somewhere and I didn't know it. And I came in one day to just check delis, and they were just sitting like that. And I was like, man, like what other, like we vilify these animals as being these nasty, dangerous, evil creatures, but this is literally mom taking care of her baby. Like that's special, man.
And it's so funny to see like the mothership, like they're all on her back. Like, some of them will somehow end up off of her, and then they just find her and climb right back on, and it's just wild.
Man.
They're such cool animals. And
if I ever get the opportunity to get gigas again, I think that'll be a species I make an exception for, because I mean, dude, just look at that baby. I mean, let me try and zoom in a little bit if I can.
Yeah.
That baby, I mean, these pictures are old and crappy, but dude, the contrast in that baby is just incredible. Incredible. So
if I hadn't been flying back from Texas, like some of those Centroides vittatus, that especially that female that I had shared a shower with when we were in like Alpine, like I was just watching her the entire time. Like I should throw you in a cup and take you home.
Of course.
And then of course, like I went to bed and I'm like, great, there's probably vittatus all, because if there's one vittatus, surely there's more.
5. Yeah.
I'm probably gonna roll over onto one of them at night. I mean, they're not like crazy toxic or anything like that, but it'd be like rolling over on a freaking hornet. I don't think I'd want to do that either.
Yeah, exactly. Swammerdami, there she is. So that was my one and only Swammerdami. And back then they were $250, and I saved my shekels so that I could buy a Swammerdami. And she lived for about 2 years, and then she rolled on me. So I don't know how old she was when I got her. It was an import from Europe because obviously India is closed, and she was big, man, but she wasn't anything bigger than a normal emperor. So it wasn't like
I had either a red claw or an emperor, and I don't know why I struggled with that one, man. I think it was just humidity.
Really?
I couldn't keep humidity where it needed to be. It was too much ventilation. I was keeping it like an idiot. I should have had a better setup.
Yeah. Well, for those who are curious as to why this is so special, this is the world's largest species of scorpion. So this one holds the record. I think there is one there's a specimen, I think at Oxford, that's like 12.6 inches, something
Crazy.
like that. Yeah. So, and alternans, everyone's seen the alternans. And suspinus.
Yeah, I don't even know what species I had. I got it in like some group that someone was selling their whole collection on Craigslist on Hilton Head Island or something like that, and that was just part of the deal. And I was like, I don't like this thing, but I'll take it.
Yeah, right. You have fun with it for a little bit, give it to a friend, whatever. So
never got into those bastards either.
So I remember when I wanted to do these, and the Egyptian stuff is really all that came in. I had messaged Todd Gearhart, and I'd asked Todd, and I was like, "Hey man, I really want to get into sulfuges. Is there any tips that you could give me that would, help
camel
me
spiders for anybody that doesn't know?"
Yeah. And his words on the phone were verbatim: "If you can keep it alive longer than 6 months, you're an expert and should be documenting everything." And I couldn't do it. Right around 5.5 months, they all rolled. So
the way they move their chelicerae constantly, that's what kind of creeps in. They're fast.
And like the
Didn't we see some in
grinding.
Texas? Yeah,
we did.
Yeah, they're cool, but that's another one that I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll appreciate them, but I ain't giving them.
Yep.
They do seem like something though that I can see would be kind of a pain in the ass to keep. Just I'm sure they need pretty large setups, I'd imagine, given how mobile they are. And
oh yeah,
is that Titius?
No, that's Florida. That's a Florida bark that
really?
I found in Delray. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. It's just a good looking specimen, man.
Yeah, I don't recall mine ever being that dark.
Yeah, and the contrast in the yellow of the legs and the red of the pincers. Yeah, it was just a good looking animal, so I figured why not? I kept that one. There's one of the Smithy that did not do well.
Those things are still expensive.
I know, right? I think
there was one at the Show Me show that we were at when we were up visiting BlackBox, and it was like $300.
Oh, I believe it, man.
Wasn't even an adult.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the fact that no one even attempts to smuggle them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's
pretty obvious where they came from.
Yeah, exactly. So, and here's
by the way, I feel like this is going to be harder for some people to keep up with because inverts aren't.
Sure.
So
this show definitely needs to be watched. So like if you're curious about inverts, if you're curious about bugs and arachnids and some of the stuff that Justin and I kept in the past, definitely watch this. Even if you fast forward when you go home, if you're listening to it in the car, it's definitely worth looking at. You know what I mean? So you could see what we're talking about on screen. So this particular scorpion,
is it a bicolor or is that
that's Moritanicus.
Oh, okay.
And this was a rare small batch shipment that came in from Morocco. And dude, that thing, like, it took everything in my power to not hold that animal because it acted like an emperor scorpion. It had no fucks to give. It just didn't care. And it was big. It was basically the size of a juvenile emperor. And you just look at that tail and the granulations on the telson, and you're like, this thing is going to put me on my back. So, yeah.
So for people that don't know, we're looking at an Andronctonus, which is a genus of scorpions, which is one of really only a few that very easily and have in the past kill people.
Yeah.
So they are very hot.
Yep. An envenomation from an animal this size would easily kill a child, say under the age of 12. It would give you the worst pain you could ever imagine as an adult. There's no real tissue damage per se. Oftentimes it's mostly neuro, and it just turns you off. It just shuts you down. So,
and you think about how small, because I mean, Andronctonus for the most part, like they're not huge, but they are large-ish scorpions as adults. So it's like you think about that's still a small yield. So think about just how incredibly toxic those things are for such a small amount that they're packing.
Oh yeah. And the one thing that people don't realize is that the scorpion venom that is injected in when there is an envenomation, the venom itself is.
Oh no!
You there?
Stop! Hold on, it froze again.
Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Are we back? Well, I can't tell if I'm frozen or he's frozen. I think he's frozen. It's going to make for some captivating audio. Dum, dum, dum. Let me consult the mobile device. Miguel says he hears me. All right. So that means that Smitty is frozen. Yep, and Smitty's out. So here we go. Well, hopefully he'll jump back in a second. Oh, there he is. You can do it, Smitty. You can do it.
I'm back.
You're back.
Just completely kicked me out. Like it did this last night too when I was doing the Lizard Brain show. I don't know what the deal is.
Well, everyone was telling me that I sounded okay. So what was the last thing you heard?
You were talking about something about venom. I don't.
Oh, so the telsin, which is the gland that actually produces the venom before it's injected. Feels good. Aliens got Smitty. Nice. So it's a biochemical thing. Forgive me for not using the right nomenclature. So there's two venom properties in the stinger of the scorpion, and the scorpion has the ability to use one, the other, or both. And in a defensive and as well as a predatory way, it's going to use both. But for the acts of courtship and mating, it uses one or the other. So you don't know what part was injected into you upon being envenomated. So you have to assume that it was, both binary pieces and that you got a legit envenomation. And everyone reacts differently. This Mauritanica's here. There's people that have been stung and, it feels like a wasp sting and that's the end of it. And there's other people that have died. So, you have to be.
Also, fun fact, a scorpion's butthole is right at the base of that stinger. There's a little opening, and that's something now.
Yes. That's why if you keep scorpions in deli cups, you will see white goo or like white crust around the rim of the deli cup. That's because the scorpion is throwing its tail in the air, or the extension of its intestines, its lower body, and extending it and squirting its fecal juices up on the rim of the.
Point it out on that picture there.
Yeah, right here.
Right there.
Right.
So next time you're at a cocktail party, you can bust out, hey, snakes have two penises, and then hey, scorpion's butthole is right at the the base of the stinger.
Yeah, and most people think that a scorpion's tail is a tail. It's not. It's 100% an extension of their body, and it's actually the main portion of their intestines. So, all right, and now we got Parabutus, Mosiba. So. Nice. This is one of the southeastern species of scorpion that is potentially harmful to humans. This is also one of the species that has been known to spray its venom, one of the spitting scorpions. I attempted to get it to do that, and I never could.
I never had that happen with my Transvaolicus either.
Yeah. I would.
And I kept a handful of those, and I never had it happen.
Yep. We just weren't lucky, Smitty.
That was like one of the first truly toxic species I kept. Transvaolicus.
Now, this is a difficult one. Smitty, can you tell what species this is? And for those of you who are listening, this is a photo of a scorpion under a black light. Scorpions have
some sort of androgynous.
It is androgynous.
Bicolor?
Nope.
Crassicata?
No, man.
Australis.
Okay. So this is Androgynous australis, arguably the most toxic scorpion on the planet.
Those are the ones that have technically killed the most people in any other species.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken.
I would concur. So scorpions have a bioluminescent gas in between their exoskeleton and their actual guts.
It's beta carboline.
Is that what it is?
I believe that's what it is called.
Excellent. So they glow under a black light, which makes finding them in the wild incredibly easy when you have a black light.
That's why when we were going to Texas, I was like, whatever light I choose, it's got to have a black light, because I'll be damned if we're not going to go to Texas and not have a black light on hand.
Right.
And you could see those things from freaking 20 feet away with the damn black light on, man.
Oh yeah.
Like they stick out like a sore thumb. Even if you can't see the black light on like the backdrop of whatever it is you're pointing it at, it still gets picked up by the body of those scorpions.
Oh yeah. So a lot of people will get a pet emperor scorpion or a desert hairy scorpion as a pet, and the pet shop will say, look, they glow under a black light, and they'll keep a black light on it. What people don't realize is that gas that's in there under the exoskeleton, it's burning off as the UV rays are hitting it. So scorpions only molt and shed their skin anywhere from 8 to 12, maybe 15 times in their entire life. As they get older, they molt less and less and less. And then finally, when they get to adulthood, they stop molting completely. So if you burn out that gas from too much blacklight exposure, it'll never glow again. And there was a trend a few years ago where every time someone bought an emperor scorpion, they got sold a blacklight to go with it. And they thought it was almost like UVB with reptiles. It needs it. So they would just keep that blacklight on for weeks on end, and they stopped glowing. And as far as we know, it doesn't affect the scorpion at all in terms of its healthiness, but it won't glow anymore. So.
Yeah, and if I recall, they don't glow if you do it like right after they've molted, to where they're still like soft and stuff.
So they do, but it's pink instead of green.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I have a picture of one in here too. So this is a unique emperor. This is Pandinus viatoris. These are what they call the blood emperors. This is not a standard red claw. This one, the entire body's red. So.
Is it a Vitatus?
This one here?
That's what it looks like.
No, this is a Lycus Asper. So this is another southeastern African species that has the very cryptic patterning to it. Almost every single scalation or segment is a different hue of brown or red. So these are mildly venomous. I wouldn't want to get stung. But
if such a thing existed.
Yeah, right. And another fossorial species that is seldomly seen, so it gets a photo. Like Lycus Asper. Tailless whip scorpion, super cool. Hodentoda trilineatus. So this is the three-stripe, what do you even call it? Three-stripe Hodentoda.
Yeah, I don't. That's like I said. If there's a common name for a lot of this stuff, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So this is basically an ugly brown scorpion with three black stripes going down its back. Unfortunately, you can't see the stripes because she's got a bunch of babies all over her back,
covered in a brood,
covered in the spawn. So this one came in gravid from an import, and she dropped after I got her. So, and that is mom after all the babies are gone. So
little tanks,
man.
More Babicurus.
Yep. So those are the Jacksoni or Jacksoni. That's a pair. That was actually right before they were recording. You can see the male trying to rile her up. There's a spinifer, so your Asian forests. These are another really good pet scorpion. They're very hardy, just like emperors. They get as big, if not slightly bigger than emperor scorpions. The difference is they are piss ants. So
yeah, I was going to say they're much more high strung than the.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is more of a rainforest tropical species, higher humidity. And there's your Cavamanus, which is your red claw emperor. So basically your normal emperor, but with red claws, a red face, and way more aggro. Desert hairy, gracilis, normal looking gracilis.
I was gonna say that looks.
What?
Maybe it's because I'm so far away. I don't know. The tail just looks awfully thick to be for Centroroides.
I mean, it's fat,
But it could just be curled up. Yeah.
It's very overfed. There's Pauciodens, the olive keelback. It's another flat rock species. Parabutus lyosoma. So this is the black-tipped scorpion. Again, another spitting species. Never got it to spit. But these are super cool. These are another very unique southeastern African species. That's the same exact Australis of the one with the black light. Same exact specimen. So, Yep. It's a blurry cell phone picture of that.
The business end.
The business end. The goods. There's your Transvaolicus.
See, what I always found interesting with those is like sort of like how the Androctonus have those just big, fat, fat-tailed scorpions have a fat tail.
Yeah.
Those is just, it was more odd because they were almost like grooved and they were much more cylindrical.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely
like
more
it's
cylindrical.
odd, like more tubular than they are blocky like you get on the Androctonus. And I mean, they're coming from very large gaps between the two, but
yeah,
I don't know. I just thought it was always interesting because they're just built different.
Oh, yeah. Another awesome species. Obviously, this comes from the Transvaal in South Africa. There's your death.
Now we're talking. Yeah.
Now we're talking. Yeah.
Look at it, ready to go.
Ready to rock and roll. Man. And dude, the ferocity of this bug is just so intense. It's all defense. It just wants to be left alone, and it will make itself known to leave it alone.
Those two have killed people.
That's why it's called the Death Stalker.
Yeah, I don't think they just give that name just because it has a mask and looks cool.
Yeah, right. And there is Dropkins Bicolor. Obviously, this is a third or fourth instar, very small.
Yep, little guy.
So I actually have a story about this bug. My one and only potentially dangerous envenomation was with this little bugger right here. So I got this guy in a tiny little film canister, and I was actually at Underground when I received it, the retail store, and I'm an idiot. Let's just call it that. I'm an idiot. I opened the container and I was looking at it, and I thought he was dead. And I took my middle finger on my right hand and I just touched him with my fingernail, and he swung that tail backwards and stung me inverted in the cuticle of my middle finger.
Ooh.
And it immediately felt like someone put their cigarette out on my finger. And you get that hit of adrenaline, like that, ooh, and I was like, this is gonna suck. And I was like, all right, it's a baby. I'm not gonna die. I probably won't need antivenom, but I probably should sit and see what happens. And I told my friend that was with me at the time, I told the manager Underground, I was like, hey man, this thing just hit me. And the minute I told these people this, my whole hand went numb, like, just numb. And I was like, uh-oh. And I sat in a chair and monitored my breathing a little bit, and everything seemed fine, but my hand was numb. And even that burning, that cigarette burn sensation, that was gone. And I slowly start to feel some heat in that finger, but my hand was numb, like totally just like past the pins and needles numb. And sure as hell, 45 minutes later, it all went away. That was it. So I had
an Australis about that size somehow end up out of the cup and on my leg.
Really? More to the story?
No, I mean, it just fell on my leg and it just stopped and like just laid flat. And
all right,
I just put it back in the cup and went on about my day.
Yeah, man, be the ground, so to speak. Be the ground.
Yep, pretty much. It's like that happens, especially with scorpions. It's like I'm just gonna stop moving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just stand still. So yeah, needless to say, I've never done anything like that ever again, nor will I ever consider it. and I do not condone anyone sitting and waiting to see what happens. Definitely seek immediate medical attention. But yeah,
Not that they're going to be able to do much for you anyway.
well, I mean, there is antivenom for Androctonus that could be received in a timely manner.
Do we have it stateside?
Sure, absolutely. Sure. I know Venom 1 has it. I think Philly Zoo also has some. And I'm sure there's someone out west that might have it, but they don't have a lot of it because I'm pretty sure it's
think about how many scorpions you got to freaking milk just to make it worthwhile. Like,
yeah, exactly. So, and let's keep going, show and tell. There we go. So this is one of my favorite species. This is Scorpio marus palmatus. This is what we call the boxing scorpion, or desert dune scorpion, whatever.
Mike Tyson.
This is literally Mike Tyson. These scorpions, they're completely harmless. They're about the same potency as like a normal bee sting, but they are so aggressive and defensive. And they call them boxing scorpions because their claws are gigantic and it looks like they have boxing gloves on. And
Hulk hands.
Literally Hulk hands. And they will hold their tail straight up in the air, but before they sting in the downward motion, they will literally box with both hands. And dude, they're like the cutest thing you've ever seen. And all of them fit on the size of like $50.
Mm-hmm.
So super fun species.
Hey man, they're large and in charge.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, definitely have Napoleon syndrome. So there's another Jacksoni with babies. Longimanus. So this is another species of Asian forest scorpion. It's in the Heterometrus genus. This one gets its name because everything is long. The claws are long, the tail is long, the legs are long, and they're much more rich, almost velvety black. But you still see that telson is that bright rust color, that reddish brown color. So another fun Asian species that's a pretty good pet if you come across it. There's that Chilean one again. Polymorpha. I'm actually surprised we didn't see one of these when we were in West Texas.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure this is the biggest species endemic to Texas, and they get about 6-7 inches on average. Mm-hmm. So, but they're a cool species, man.
Phil flexing.
What?
I don't know. Billy's just talking shit in the chat.
Billy Jenkins on that bourbon.
What's that?
So that is Titius asathinus.
Ooh,
asathinus. And these pictures are all horrible cell phone pictures, but if you zoom in, you could see the blue eyes. Well, kinda.
Yeah.
So super cool species. I mean, I've really never been big on South American stuff, but that one came across my path, and I figured, why not? We'll try it. So this one is a Chinese scorpion that I never got a chance to identify. It came in on a shipment from Hong Kong, and it was not like in the box, like loose or anything. It was actually in like a film canister, but they had got some bugs, and literally on the paperwork from China, it literally just said scorpion in English. So that's cool.
It's better than a question mark, I guess.
Yeah, exactly right. So, and here's that Cuban devil that had just molted. You can still see how the skin or the exoskeleton,
like soft shell crab.
Soft shell crab. That's it. Thought that was a cool picture. And there is the Scolapendra hardwicki. And I wasn't kidding, man. Black and orange, Halloween, massive. So that orange lid, that's the wide mouth Gatorade.
They're
cap.
Just coral snakes with legs.
Literally, yeah. So that orange cap is one of those wide mouth Gatorade bottles. So I don't know if that's 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I don't remember. So
better be cucumber lime.
I don't think they had cucumber lime back in 2006.
I hate how much I love that flavor of Gatorade.
You're just a bougie bitch.
Can't deny it.
Here's one that we never talked about. Opisthothalamus boemi or boemi, the burrowing scorpions. You ever have them?
No, I had some other. So there's like that's.
You had a burrowing scorpion of some kind.
I don't know. It was. So there's this kind of group of scorpions I never got into. Like the ones that are like those boxing scorpions are just like the like, little tails, big pincers, just kind of like derpy sort of.
Yeah.
They never did much for me, but I
did
have.
I don't know. Scorpions skipped leg day.
I don't even remember. I have a picture of it somewhere. I don't even remember what the hell it was. It was some sort of, I think, Egyptian or something. It was, I don't know. Let me see if I could find it.
Yeah, dig it up. So I like the Opisthothalamus genus. They're South African. They get the name burrowing scorpion because they make these crazy tunnels underground. Unfortunately, most people, myself included, you don't get to appreciate those tunnels because we keep them in deli cups, you know?
Yeah.
So I actually, if I ever come across these again, I may do one in like one of those tall glass, rectangular glass tanks, I guess you call it. Mm-hmm. You know, where they have, it's like a 10-gallon, but it's a really tall cylinder. I may do something like that and just pack a bunch of sandy soil in there and just let them do like the ant farm thing, you know? So here's another Opisthothalamus. This is Wahlbergi or Wahlbergi. I'm pretty sure this is the largest of the burrowing scorpions. And this one also has these super flat claws. And you'll notice how the pincer is real thin and flat. And that's because they actually use the pincers as a shovel. And they literally excavate sand and soil and dig out their burrows. So I love how they have that's such a long front part of their body. You know, the chelicerae are so super long and stretched out, kind of look like a walrus. Walrus whiskers. So this is Scolapendra Maltodens. They call it Chinese beauty. I didn't think it was that beautiful. I went up getting rid of it.
I didn't get the hype. I didn't think it was all that.
Yeah, I didn't get the memo. And this one is this is one of my favorite centipedes, excuse me. This is Scolapendra suspinus. This is the Chinese tiger leg. And I'm sure the scientific names have changed. People can crucify me online, whatever. But this animal, this picture gives it no justice. The body of the animal was jet black, and then each leg was neon yellow with black tiger stripes. Just a super, super cool bug.
Good Lord, I'm having to dig deep.
And that's the end of the pictures. I don't remember what species of centipede that is. I think it might just be a Chinese red leg.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's an orange leg.
Orange leg? Yeah. So that concludes Phil's bug show and tell. Having trouble finding that picture?
No, I found it. Now I'm just trying to figure out how to save it. I'm just going to screenshot it.
Henry says, I feel someone may be getting back into bugs. Well, not for me, man. Not for me.
It's pretty easy to not do when you have a wife that isn't into that stuff at all. Like, she draws the line.
Exactly. Look, man, there's a lot of things that my girl lets me get away with, and I won't push the envelope too hard, you know. Are you throwing that up on Facebook, or am I?
No, I sent it to you. I have another one right here. So this is this is 10 years ago.
So are you putting it up or am I putting it up?
I sent it to you on Messenger.
Okay, so I'll put it up. Is this a video or a picture?
No, it's a picture.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't remember what species it is. I just know that it's not anything stupid hot or crazy toxic or anything like that. So,
well, now I'm curious. All right, so there we go. All right, let's see if we can zoom in on this bad boy. That might be Wahlberg's.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that might be one of those Wahlbergy. I mean,
I don't even remember how I got it.
Doesn't have the body coloration, but it has the face and the claws. Wrong direction.
Then
yeah, man, I think that's Wahlberg's. What is this you sent me?
That is the first chondro I ever got. That ended
that's
in
gotta
disaster.
That's gotta go up.
Everyone would get a good laugh at that because that was the first chondro set up. That was also 10 years ago. And
dude, to be honest, it's not that bad, man.
It's pretty bad.
What's bad about that?
That snake lasted a month.
But explain to me, the non-chondro guy, why that setup is bad.
Oh, well, first of all, I was under the impression that they were kept like tropical-ish.
Right.
And they are not. So I kept this one too wet. That tank wasn't very big. That heat lamp was just not ideal. Open screen top, so ventilation, any humidity that wasn't there disappeared fairly quickly. So I had shed issues with it. I look at it now and just kind of giggle because it's like it was bad.
Hey man, we all learn sometime.
And that was the snake that I was like, yep, never doing these again. And so I just thought people would find that funny because,
yeah, man. Hey, dude, it's all learning experience, man.
Here I am now, and I'm like, these are the easiest things to keep. How did I kill it?
Well, if it makes you feel better,
yeah,
that's the exact setup I had for my first carpet, and now that thing is it's a Diamond Jungle hybrid F1, and that thing is like 7.5 foot and psychotic.
Nice. Gracilis babies everywhere.
Mike Cuppin says it looks like his first setup too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was. Let's see. So that was 10 years ago. So I would have been 21.
Nice. Good.
No. There's no way. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it was because there's other posts of me with some beer that I actually would drink because I wasn't a big beer guy, and I'm not a big beer guy, but Well, all right.
Well, we are at the witching hour, my friend.
We sure are. Bye.
Hey man, I like how this episode turned out. This is not exactly what I was.
It froze again.
No, you're frozen.
I hit a button and I tried to get it
frozen.
to
You're
do
frozen.
something I wanted it to do. Hold on a second. Oh my god.
Everyone pretend like you can't hear him.
Okay, we're good.
You were never not good, bro. You were good the whole time.
It was a combination. So Randy said the setup was not that bad. Maybe the animal was problematic. And I got that animal from underground. And so I'm sure it is a combination of the two. But that thing ate fine. I just got it. And I was like, I'm going to keep it like this. And it'll work out great. And this was before I got, Maxwell's book. And this is long before Zoolander and Philip's book came out. And just a dumbass kid with a job and very little bills. So
it happens, man. It's what we do. It's how we learn.
I tried to make it fancy and naturalistic.
how far we've come, because we all
Yeah.
thought that was naturalistic. You know what I mean?
I don't. Yeah, this was before like isopods really even were a thing. But this show was brought to you by BlackBoxCages.com. Check them out. Facebook, Instagram. Check out the website. If you have any questions, feel free to message me or message BlackBox. Message the page. Someone will answer you. If you have any questions, though, you can message me if you want, and I'll answer them to the best of my abilities. And then Puget Sound Pythons. So the awesome folks on the adjacent corner of the country that are doing awesome stuff. Also on Facebook and Instagram. If you're at any of the shows up that way, they just vended. They got a really awesome setup, like decked out to the nines, with
Yeah.
banners and
Dude,
everything
they
else.
had the whole end cap of the aisle.
Yeah.
Super cool.
It was awesome. We need to get them both on again soon.
Yeah.
I think we need to do a check-in.
Yeah.
Maybe the good luck will strike twice, and they'll have another litter of like Doomerals or something else.
Oh, sure. I
While we're
forgot
doing
about that. I forgot. Dude, they're the only ones who have ever had, anything like that happen on our show, right?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Yeah. I think, well, wait, didn't Billy Hunt get eggs one time when he was live?
Maybe.
I think so. But yeah, we definitely got to get them back on, man. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, but they now have every species available of Lycus, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Running the gauntlet.
Putting in the work. Gendra.
Blood, sweat, tears, urates.
In that order. Yeah. So we'll be back for THP 159 Thursday. We're going to have TJ Chambers from over in the Arizona region coming on, talk about Morelia and Scrubs and some of the other stuff he's got. So that'll be a good one. He's been on the sort of the hit list for me for a while. Just kind of take things as they go, and it's going to be a good one, I think. So
awesome. And I'm going to do everything in my power to get the next episode of Venom Exchange Radio out this Sunday. I don't remember who's up next in the lineup. I want to say it is Kyle from Biochem Africa. So
cool.
Yeah, we'll have to throw that up on Sunday.
Need to do an Andronctonus episode.
Yeah, but it's on the to-do list, man. It's on the to-do list.
Good.
Sure. Yeah, the problem is our guest list that we've basically mapped out is all international people.
Yep.
So between Nipper's work schedule being crazy, the time differences, and then like I've got some guys in the Middle East that are going to get into it, and it's difficult because they don't necessarily have the same venue we do in terms of what they're allowed to do on the internet.
Right.
As well as certain situations. For example, I have one guy that it has to be the right day because he may not have power, like electricity.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that.
Yeah. So we got to try and get all that together, and we got some big names and some unknown names coming. So it'll be exciting. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more, man. And
yeah,
anytime you need me to fill in it for whatever reason, just let me know.
Yeah, 100%. So
I need to hit up Nipper too. I haven't talked to him in a while. It's been a minute.
Yeah, man. Just message him. He's always around in spirit.
Yes.
So,
well, thank you, everyone. We will see y'all later.
Bye.